Welcome back to the cheap C5 Corvette drift build series, where this time we're taking the front half apart rather than the back half. We're still at Race Ready Garage, which now may be called Drift Ready Garage. Okay, Nigel, what are we doing today? I've laid out some of the parts that we are going to be installing in this video. Let's go for it.
So start by draining the radiator.
Okay.
We're going to get the rad out. We'll pull this sway bar, a couple things from the front of the engine.
So we're replacing that radiator and those stock fans with this Dewitts that I bought off of Facebook Marketplace. I think I paid 900 bucks for this thing. So this is like a $2,000+ rad and fan. So should be pretty good.
Yep.
Now it isn't exactly for this car because it's meant for an automatic, right?
Yeah, it's got the automatic cooler in it. It doesn't make any difference going into this.
Yeah.
These cooler lines, it's not like if we don't have fluid through there, anything's going to leak or cause any kind of substantial difference in the operation of the rad.
And it'll mount up just fine, or at least it should for the most part.
Yeah.
And maybe in the future, who knows, if we do some witchcraft, we might be able to use that for cooling something else.
Well, that's just it. Now there's just a spare cooler there that we can use in the future if we need to.
Yep.
But we do have an oil cooler for this. So.
Yes, let's talk about that. So I've got an oil pan and some oil related products. So shout out Improved Racing. These guys sent me a bunch of stuff, which I wanted because they make a very good bolt-in kit for the oil cooler for the C5s and for the C6s. So we are going to be installing this. It's a brand new, nice bolt-in system. Should go in pretty flawlessly. And we're also going to be doing a catch can. And we also have this cool little product that they make, this Batwing trapdoor kit. So Nigel, I would love you to explain this because I vaguely know why I bought this, but I wanted a baffled oil pan. And there's a reason that I had to buy this one because we can't use the one that's there.
That's right. So the later pans were a two-piece pan, so the bottom unbolts.
Yeah, so this gasket right here separates from that part.
Yes.
Whereas on mine, it doesn't do that. So that's kind of some of those weird early car things that kind of, it's better to just get a later car for certain things, but they do cost more. So kind of end up paying a little bit more. But good thing is I found this on Marketplace for 120 bucks, I think.
Just a score.
It looked terrible, so I actually got it cleaned up. So I paid another 40 bucks to get it like jet blasted and all that kind of stuff. Because I tried to price one of these out to buy brand new, and it was like 1,500 Canadian dollars.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
A lot of money. Okay.
But yeah, you can find them used for a decent price. And then once we pull the bottom off this, you have.
So this is the pickup tube. Yep.
So that's our pickup tube. So your sump sits in here, your pickup sits in here.
Yep.
And these little passageways are what basically keeps the oil down on the bottom.
Yep.
So the way these baffle kits work is they pretty much slot into place. You do have to cut the gasket itself.
Okay.
And then they've got little trap doors on them.
Yeah, so these are like little swing doors basically that keep the oil right around the pickup tube.
That's right, yeah. So whichever way you're turning, it'll keep that door down on that side wherever the fluid's trying to move away from the sump. Yep. And it just kind of keeps this area full of oil.
Yeah.
It's a pretty basic setup. Like there's not much to it, but they do work well. It's a really good idea for track cars.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I wanted this, because I don't want to blow this engine up. I'm trying to do my best to keep this thing in one piece. So I'm doing a lot of safety stuff, like an oil cooler, like baffles and stuff to keep oil in the engine at all times. LSs are pretty reliable as long as they have oil in them.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. So,
okay.
So that's the goal.
Yeah, so that's all good. So while we're doing all that stuff, we are also going to be taking apart a couple other things just because it makes sense to do all at the same time.
Yeah.
This is a crank balancer that I bought from Summit Racing. This is their branded one. You guys said you've used these in the past, and this is way heavier than it looks.
Yeah, they're not light. Yeah, we've used these ones a lot. So these actually have an 8 rib on them. They don't work for superchargers. For some reason, they put the ribs on the backside. If it was to be used on a supercharger, it would need the ribs out here.
Man, it just blew my future plans.
Well, they still work for a 6 rib setup.
Hey!
So I don't know why they put those extra ribs back here, but these things work really, really nice. We use them all the time. They're just a bit of an upgrade for bang for buck, it's not a bad way to go as opposed to going with like an ATI or something like that if you have a car that you're planning on really abusing.
Exactly.
So,
And again, we're just trying to stick to a budget build, so I went with the Summit Racing branded one, and from the looks of it, I think it'll be more than adequate.
oh, yeah.
And we're doing that because mine is making noises, as they all do kind of on every C5, basically.
Yeah.
So it gets wobbly.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else are we doing? So obviously there's this leak that we still have to take care of.
Yeah, so
which is
we
part
don't
of
know
the
if
steering
that's
system.
just the little piece of hose here or part of the back of the cooler. This is the power steering cooler.
Pretty cool that we actually have one, because not all C5s came with a power steering cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is a Z51 car, because it's an FRC. It's not a Z06.
Yeah.
It's kind of the Z06 before the Z06.
But you get some of the improved cooling benefits like that. So yeah, I've got a couple of these things laying around. So we'll probably just pop one on there to be safe, replace this line. The steering rack's going to end up getting replaced while we've got this down.
Yeah, so this whole thing will come out, and we replaced with that guitar-looking case that I had to buy from Rock Auto. So that was like, I think I paid $900 or something for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I bought the last one that Rock Auto had, like literally the last one in the country. So you can't find these things anymore.
They're getting harder to find for sure.
Yeah, oh, and there's that crank balancer, by the way, right back there.
And then while we've got some room to work with the radiator out, what we'll probably start with today, get some stuff out of our way.
Yep.
And then we'll start working on finishing these brake lines up.
Yep.
Getting all the brakes bled with the handbrake operating, and just kind of make sure everything's working as a unit before we start assembling a bunch of other stuff around it.
Perfect. So lots of little things going on in this video. And then once all that fun stuff is buttoned up, we're also going to be replacing the pads and rotors. I'm not sure if that's going to be this video or the next one. And then finally, we get to start bolting on some shiny stuff with exhaust related things. Some of the headers will go on in the next episode so that we can hopefully fire this thing up and hear what it sounds like and get that MSD two-step going. Okay, Nigel, I'd say let's get to work.
Let's do it.
You get to work and I just stand behind the camera. Thanks, man. This place is the best. A lot of work was just done there. Radiator's out, fans are out, ABS module is now out. And what are we looking at over here?
Yeah, so we got the ABS module out of the way now. So we're doing a ABS delete on this, and obviously the hydraulic handbrake for the rear brakes.
Yeah, we got the hydro brake right there mounted up.
Fancy
Not fully,
piece.
but
Nope.
just temporarily.
We're getting there, yeah.
Yep.
I might need to manipulate it a little bit to bleed that master out.
Yeah, okay.
So we don't want it bolted down quite yet.
Yep.
So basically, the way this works now is your front line comes out of your master, comes up here. So that's...
You labeled everything geniusly.
Yeah, so that's from the master. It's a bigger line. These do have different size fittings on them. So we'll just go into this brass T now.
Yep.
And that's going to take the place of what the ABS box was doing. And it's just straight line pressure to the front brakes.
Yeah, so all we're doing with this whole system from Part Shop Max is basically just intercepting the fluid so that the fluid then only controls the rear brakes with my parking brake, well, with my hydraulic brake, but also functions as a normal system when I'm using the brakes minus the ABS.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And the ABS on a drift car don't play nicely together anyways.
No. That is why we're deleting all of that stuff. Yeah. And it actually freed up a ton of space over here.
Yes.
Which is pretty nice as well, because we're going to get into some stuff over there as well.
Yeah.
So once you get all of those lines situated, you're going to bleed the brakes.
Yeah, which will be a little bit of a procedure on this now.
Yeah.
We haven't bled this dry, so we don't need to re-bleed the main master.
Right.
But we're likely going to need to bleed that master and then bleed everything else. We're also going to do a nice thorough brake flush.
Yes.
It always gets neglected on these cars. We've already gone in and done some cleaning inside the master here.
Yeah, the master was nasty.
Yeah.
Nigel was able to clean some of that, as you can see the left half versus the right half.
Yeah, so you can't get anything in to clean
No.
this side on these. But from here now, we'll just do a really thorough flush, make sure everything's got nice fresh fluid in it.
Okay.
And then once we get the brakes all situated and the handbrake working properly, then on to the next.
Okay, let's go. So I'm gonna save you guys the effort of watching us go down, up,
Yeah.
bleed.
It's not an exhilarating procedure by any means. So.
Yeah, we'll just cut to the next clip right now. Last couple hours of lines are now done. So this is what it looks like for now. We are still gonna kind of make a little bit of a mount so that it's not just dangling around. So that'll come a little bit later. Everything was bled, had to bleed like a normal system, except now we have this hydro. This was also properly bled, so check this out. Boom, boom, boom. Drifting, rear calipers locked up. This plate still isn't bolted, so it's making sounds because it's got a bunch of bolts that aren't there. So next thing after this is put the car back up in the air and start unbolting the subframe and a bunch of stuff underneath. So let's get under the car again. Okay, Nigel, so that was quite a bit of work in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
What did you do?
Didn't go too bad.
First thing I think I saw that dropped was that.
Yeah, so we got the power steering cooler out of there that we had previously determined. We're just going to replace it just in case it's leaking.
Yep.
It's one of those, like, to be able to determine whether it's the line or the rack, right, or the cooler right now. We'll just put a new one on.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys have them laying around.
Exactly.
Thank you, Race Ready Garage, best shop ever. Sorry, Drift Ready Garage.
Then we got rid of moved the steering rack out of the way.
Yeah, it's this guy right here.
Yeah, now you can't pull it out yet, but I wanted to get the crank bolt out before we undo the engine mounts because it takes an enormous amount of effort to break those free and torque them when we're done. So first thing out, now we can drop the subframe, we'll do all the rest of the work we've got to do, we'll swap the pulley, but then we'll wait until the subframe's back in to torque the crank bolt.
Right, okay, so this crank bolt that Nigel's talking about is torqued to like 40 million pound-feet of torque.
Yeah.
So he managed to do that first try because he's super strong. And then he's got a cool contraption that goes onto the flywheel, which holds it in place because the back of the flywheel is the front of this. It's all connected. That's the crank.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, what's leaking over here? Power steering?
Yeah, that's just straight off your power steering reservoir.
Yeah.
So we're going to want to put all new fluid in there anyway, so
Oh,
we
yeah.
might as well just let it leak out. Normally, like, these can be a little bit of a job to bleed out properly. So typically I try and not drain the whole system. Usually we'll kind of flush fluid through and keep everything primed.
Yep.
But seeing as the rack's coming out and being replaced anyways, no matter what, we're going to have empty lines.
Exactly.
So let's just drain it all and start fresh.
Okay, so...
And then we also found this guy needs to be done.
Oh yeah, the tensioner. Yeah, you did smile at me on camera looking at that. It needs to be done because it's not holding any tension anymore.
No, it's kind of just sitting in its idle position. So
Man, there's no space on Corvettes. Like, once you take out like half the stuff, there's still no space. It's pretty wild. But it is pretty cool race car stuff. Like the way that the rad and everything's like routed, it's just air being forced up into it. Pretty cool. Okay, so now you're going to like do everything that you just said, basically unbolt the subframe.
yeah, we'll bring the car down. I'm going to get an engine cradle sitting up top, supporting the engine, so that we can start to pull this without having to worry about anything happening with the engine coming down. That also means that we're leaving the majority of the weight on the frame rails.
Yes.
Which doesn't unbalance the car.
Okay.
Right.
Cool.
Not that it's the biggest deal. Most everything we're doing from here is going to be from the underside anyways.
Yeah.
But it is nice to not have a unbalanced car on the hoist.
For sure. Okay. Sounds like more time lapses. Hope you guys are enjoying all the time lapses because honestly, all this stuff takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
This has been almost a day of work.
Yeah.
And doesn't look like we've made much like actual progress based on the parts pile. But like that's what it does. It just takes a lot of time.
Yeah. Getting those brakes bled properly with the handbrake assembly in there. That's
that
doing
did
it
take some
right
time.
and making sure there's no air is a chore.
And because these are inline, that is very critical for my safety.
Yes.
Because a lot of people go with like a dual caliper setup, which has its own reservoir for the separate calipers, whereas the ones that I'm using, my reservoir is my regular brake reservoir. So that has to work.
Yeah. So we got that nailed down pat.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Oh yeah. Engine supported. Caliper off. Upper ball joint separated. Control arm down. Oil drained. New day. We got a lot of work done yesterday, even more today. We got a lot of parts laid out in front of us. Improved racing. Actually, Nigel, can you hold the camera and show them the back of my shirt? Bro.
That's pretty dope.
Bro. Look at that. Ooh, it was swapped.
Right?
All right. Thank you. Oh, we got this rack brace.
Yeah, so this is a pretty slick unit.
I got this from FDF, a Canadian company. Shout out FDF Raceshop. I bought that. I bought a couple parts from them to support Canadians, so let's go.
So these just basically support the passenger side of the steering rack. With the drift cars, they have a much more aggressive angle pushing on the rack. That can break the rack. So this is going to just support everything to the subframe itself. Now, typically these mounts, you end up having to grind the strap off.
Yeah, so off a brand new steering rack or your existing one, you literally have to grind it down. But
Yeah.
what did you discover with this one?
Yeah, this is really nice. This actually goes on the outside of the strap and then just comes around and braces to the factory mount.
And then this separates with these little Allen bolts.
Yep.
So this thing just opens right up and you can mount it easily.
And it just comes with aluminum bushings to replace the rubber bushings from factory.
Great design. Good
Awesome.
job, FDF.
Yeah.
He's very happy about
pumped
that
about
because
this.
that saved us a couple hours of grinding.
Yeah, so.
Okay. We also got this guy.
And then, while
balancer.
I've got the rack out of the way, we'll put the balancer on. Just makes sense now. And then we've got engine mounts. They showed up right on time.
Where did I put those? Here they are, exactly where I left them. So I ordered these, what are they called? They are the Vulcan motor mounts from AMT. Just bought these a couple days ago. Shipping took, I don't know, 5 days or something like that. Got here just in time. We are going to be replacing those a little bit later because of the way that you want to do all this, because it just makes sense to.
Yeah, the factory mounts have dowels on them, studs.
Yeah.
So
Can
they
we
just
see
kind of
those right
keep
here?
everything centered.
Just probably not.
Well, that's the bottom of it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all you're going to see. But the engine mounts are going to mount up right in there, basically.
Yeah.
Really hard to tell you right now. but
So
you'll see
these
later.
have a through bolt style. These are a nice mount as far as aftermarket mounts goes, more solid mounts.
secret box right there.
But yeah, right now it'll be a little easier to work around these guys. And then putting those in will be one of the last things we'll do.
Yeah.
Realistically, it'll probably be get the headers in,
Yeah.
get those bolted in, and bolt the subframe up to finalize all the subframe stuff.
Okay, so here's the general area where we are going to be working. Steering rack's coming out. This crank balancer is getting replaced. Front bumper may have to come off. We'll see. Oil cooler goes somewhere in the vicinity of all this. FDF rack brace goes right there, I believe.
Yep.
And that's about it. Let's get to work.
All right.
Separating the two-piece pan. Nice. Did a good job cleaning it. The improved racing baffle kit is as easy as this install. That's it. Right, Nigel?
Yeah, there's not much to it. These guys
This
slide
piece,
in.
that piece, and that piece.
They need to be manipulated down just a little bit.
Yep.
Then we'll trim our gasket just where they sit, where the two pan halves meet.
Yep.
And basically these little baffle doors now will block these passages here.
Ah, yes. Right there.
So it'll still allow oil to come in, but not out in the direction that you're turning.
Really simple, genius, well thought out design. I mean, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, not much to it. Works great, saves engines.
Yes, and it's very affordable too, like very affordable.
Yeah.
As long as you don't have to buy this pan, and even if you do, I bought this for so cheap, like 140 bucks all in or whatever it was.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, if you're going, if you need this,
yeah,
you need it.
Exactly.
Like
Yep.
it's worth getting the pan and putting the baffle kit in. There's not a lot of alternatives for pans for these cars.
No, I looked.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I think Improved Racing may be working on something. I think I saw a prototype for that.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just this.
But it's a low car. There's a big subframe, so
Yeah.
you've got to have something that fits in there, and this seems to be the best way to go with these.
Awesome. Get chopping. Okay, so Nigel did some trimming of the gasket, and everything fits perfectly. So now let's bolt this thing back onto there and take that one off.
Yep. We'll do some cleaning on the bottom of the block.
Yep.
And bolt this thing up.
Okay. Baffles are baffling. That's it. And then they'll just let the oil in there, and then they won't let it out when it's at the right G-forces. Okay.
All right.
Bolt it up. Subframe bolts out. Hey, look at that. It's coming down. Hey, steering rack coming straight out. Killer job.
All right.
Let's inspect how bad it is. All right.
Pretty standard.
Yep.
They generally always have a leak up here somewhere. They're pretty notorious for leaking
Oh yeah.
out right here,
Uh-huh.
which you can see it is.
Yep.
So that's probably where the majority of this is coming from.
Okay. Awesome.
Yep. So get the next one prepped.
Okay. We
A
got
couple
this
things to do before that goes in, but
big old guitar things going in.
yeah, let's start by comparing them, make sure we got
Yeah.
the right part.
Yeah. That's always fun. Okay. Should be good. It is the only one I could buy, so. And I did look into rebuilding these, but you have to ship it out to the States, and with shipping and all that stuff, it just ends up being the same as buying a brand new one, basically. So when I said brand new, I meant remanufactured, because they didn't actually have brand new. Is that leaking up? No, that's just,
It's leaking out of these. It'll just have some fluid in it.
okay. All right.
I'm sure they test them. I hope they test them.
Yeah, I would hope so. This is, what company is this? Reman Rack and Pinion, product of Mexico. Okay. We will be replacing these later as part of the angle kit, so we're just gonna take those off and put those on there. In my quick look, I'm gonna say they're the same.
At the least the same-ish.
Hey, the engine didn't fall out.
Yet.
Wow, yeah, that oil pan is a total pain in the to do without. You can't do it without doing any of this. You literally can't.
Yeah, you don't need to pull this out this far,
Right.
but you
gotta
have
loosen-
to lower it.
Yeah.
But this just makes sense right now. Makes things a little easier.
And then these are the engine mounts that we're going to be replacing as well.
So they're just sitting in there for now.
Dude, are these hydraulic like on the C6s? Like, do they have
Yes,
fluid?
it's
Okay.
the same mount.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So
they're
these tend to
good
leak.
mounts. They're more prone to leaking on higher horsepower cars.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of torque twists them quite a bit, and they can tend to leak or with age, obviously.
Yeah, for sure.
Which are not a necessary upgrade
No.
for a normal car.
Exactly.
Not the biggest fan of solid or urethane mounts.
And that's kind of like a mix in between.
It
sort
is.
of.
It kind of splits the difference. Typically, if you're going to do front mounts, you really need to do the rear. But I mean, we've kind of discussed this, come up with a game plan for it. But because this thing's going to be bouncing off the rev limiter,
Yeah.
shaking a lot, we've decided to go with a slightly stronger mount. So.
Yeah, and it's way more work to do these mounts than it is to do the diff mount. So maybe we'll be doing the diff mount from AMT later, but for now, we're just going to try and do the front mount, and hopefully that's enough.
Well,
see.
we've got it apart with Butman. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Hey, look at that. I should probably take another thumbnail image for the front half of my car being separated right now. Nigel's taking off all the bolts for this oil pan, and as you can see, it is a single piece design, so there's nothing separating the two halves. So it kind of overhangs right here, right where that would be, which is why it's a huge pain to get this one off. So the two-piece should be much better, and all later C5s got this, and the C5 Z06s. They all got the same one later. All these crazy little changes between all these years. That's it. Hey.
All right.
One-piece oil pan out.
Get gone.
Chunks? Chunks aren't good.
It'll be fine, baby.
Why are there two really big chunks in there?
It's better than 3.
Did this just turn into an engine build series? Huh. Well, the screen did its job. Are there identifiable engine parts in there?
Not yet.
All right, we're putting heads, cam, bottom end, forge pistons. Dave, start ordering everything. Everything.
Why? What's wrong?
Nothing.
Chunks?
Just 2 of them.
Oh, 2, that's okay.
Exactly.
That's what I said. It's better than 3.
See? Right there. Yeah. 2 of them right there.
That's fine, probably.
Normal amounts of chunks.
Oh, perfect. All right, well, if it's normal, that's normal. Then I don't care.
They don't.
Curled.
Yeah.
I do see that.
It's threads from something.
Maybe it was a bolt that a previous guy just lost.
Yeah, sure.
Looks like aluminum.
What we'll do is we're going to replace the oil pickup tube anyways.
Yeah.
So you can get a pretty good indication of what's going on inside by the condition of the oil pump. So
Okay.
once that pickup tube's off, we can
Yep.
see into the oil pump
Okay.
and determine whether we go any further or just put it together. And
Yep.
Peel that. back
Yeah,
off
might
and
as
see
well.
what's under there if there's
Yeah.
bigger chunks.
Yeah.
here we
Do it. Take it off. Let's see. Just full of metal.
Oh no! No, I
Hey,
don't see
we're good.
anything in there.
We're good. Aw, man. Order the pistons and stuff anyway. All right, well, that's a good sign.
That's not a bad sign.
Hey. 2 pieces of metal. Whatever. Didn't need it anyways.
Yeah.
Nothing shiny in there. No glittery.
Yeah.
That's I'm just looking for shiny things.
Yeah.
Like digging for gold.
Look out for that pretty oil.
Yeah.
It'll bite you every time. Now this looks pretty good.
Okay. I think we're gonna have to take this off because I don't think I got one when I bought it used.
Yep. So we'll pop that in the new pan.
And this is a oil temperature sensor.
That's your oil level sensor.
Oil level.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And this is the culprit of the leak. Clearly.
Yeah, these are pretty bad for leaking.
Yeah.
This bolt was finger tight. That wouldn't have been helping. This
No.
gasket's old and flat. So,
Yeah.
but oftentimes they start making their way through these, especially these parts in the gasket here. So
Yeah.
we'll always do some extra silicone on there as it goes in.
And we are replacing this whole unit with the improved racing one on the other oil pan anyways.
Correct.
And they even have a sensor as well, so you won't have to reuse this one.
Perfect.
What are we looking at here?
Just looking at the state of the oil pump gears. They're pretty good. Some very minor scoring. It's a high kilometer engine. It's going to have some.
Yeah.
But I can still see the original hatching on it, the original machine marks.
Lovely.
So all in all, I'd say we're in pretty good shape here.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't look too bad, but we've got a fresh one, so we'll put it on.
Yep.
The important part is the sump itself. The screen wasn't all full of more chunks.
Yeah.
So we just had 2 mysterious little floaters in there that could have come from anywhere.
Hey, that's okay.
Engine was running fine.
Perfect.
We're gonna slam her together.
Alrighty. New pickup tube going in. Nigel's bolting the cover back on here to cover up the clutch because it just makes sense at this time. Taking this one out of my old oil pan to put into the new oil pan. All right, so we got that one in there. So now that we know the correct oil level
Yes.
in the new oil pan with the improved racing trapdoor kit. New oil pan gasket from Mr. Gasket. Shout out Holley. No pressure, Nigel. You got one shot. one opportunity. Oil pan, torque to spec. Okay, so you're supporting the engine slightly by this now because you're gonna do the crank pulley now.
Yeah, well, we've got access to it. Now's the time.
Yeah, you're saying that you never really get access to this like this because we've taken, well, this out.
Yeah.
Most people don't go to this extent.
No, we don't pull the subframe right out unless we have to, but with how much we're doing under here, it just makes sense for this.
Yeah.
So yeah, usually we're kind of working around stuff to get these pulleys done, but we got the space, so let's do it.
Perfect. And if anyone wants to make fun of me in the comments as to why I'm not doing all this work myself, well, everything just makes sense to do when it's being done. I don't want to be doing this particular stuff. New crank balancer and ARP bolt is in. What's next?
So, well, we've got some room to work with here. Probably get this thermostat done. It's going to drip some coolant.
Ah, yes.
A little easier to deal with now, and we're not dripping onto the subframe again.
And we're gonna do a lower temperature, I think 160.
160 will go in this, yeah. And then we'll do the spark plugs to match and lower the fan temps.
Yep.
And then you get the big radiator. It's going to be running a lot cooler than it was.
Awesome.
This tensioner isn't really doing anything anymore.
No more tension on the tensioner. Got
Pop
it.
one of those in while we can.
Awesome.
Not that we can't later, but it's easy now.
Yeah, way easier.
And then from there, we're probably going to get the subframe resting in the vehicle again.
So we'll get this thing back
Yeah.
there.
Get the steering rack roughly in place.
Ah, yes, steering rack.
And then we can pull the engine support off from the top because we're done with that.
Yep.
And then we'll probably end up dropping this down a little bit again, the subframe, and then kind of finishing up everything else we need to in there, engine mounts, things like that. So.
Okay, sounds good. Let's get back to it. And shout out Holley, Mr. Gasket Parts. We got this 160-degree thermostat and the chrome swivel neck. Look at that. So it's gonna replace that grimy old piece. Nice. Old one.
Yes.
Gross, disgusting, not chrome.
Janky old LS1 style.
Wrong stock temperature.
Boo.
Upgrade.
Yeah. It's the LS3 style, which is good, but more importantly, it's shiny.
Yes.
And I mean, that's really all that matters. So,
Send her in.
oh, this is plus 4 horsepower for sure.
Easily. Look at this.
Maybe even more.
This balancer, that old crusty tensioner off. Look how crusty. This looks like it's been living under the ocean for the longest time.
It's actually stuck right in the center of its travel.
Yeah, not tensioning
Really wasn't
whatsoever.
doing anything. So we've got a C6 one laying around. A little bit of
Hey.
a later revision.
Hey, upgrade.
Yep.
Okay.
Better pulley. Look at how worn this guy is.
Oh wow, it's yeah. It's got its own
Holy.
little channel. That's actually insane.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, this is going to be good.
Engine is supported under its own weight.
Yes. Becoming a car again.
Yep.
So everything that we needed the frame right out for, we're done with. So we're probably going to lower the subframe back down a little bit now that I can support the engine on the stand and bring it down a little lower.
Yep.
We will get the
Yes.
oil cooler adapter mounted.
That's this guy right here. This is the improved racing piece right here.
Yep.
Look at that quality. Look at that.
Yeah, it's a nice piece.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it won't leak because our old one leaked.
So thermostat's built in here.
Yeah.
Then it's got a provision for the temperature sensor.
Yep. And they run their own temperature sensor as well, which I believe is included in there. Yep, there it is
here.
right there.
Yep.
Awesome. And then these lines we're going to route as well.
Yeah, they're easier to
Temporarily.
route while we've got the rack loose still.
Yeah, so we won't be doing the full oil cooler install right now. We're just doing half of it.
Yes.
because it makes sense.
Yep.
Then you're gonna bolt up the starter, I think you said as well.
Yeah, we'll get the starter in there.
Yeah.
Because once the headers are in, it's pretty much in there.
Yeah, and then headers are coming in as well.
Yeah, so we'll do the headers and the engine mount last, and
Yeah.
then get
Yeah,
the
that's right.
frame bolted in and everything resting on its own weight.
Okay.
And that should be the last time we have the subframe out.
Awesome. Mystery box is open. Let's go. Ooh.
Fancy.
Ooh, look at these bad boys. Damn, bro. These were actually not crazy expensive. They were pretty reasonable. It's just that whole Canadian dollar thing.
Yeah.
And shipping and whatnot.
Yeah, so these are cool. They use urethane inside.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't want solid, but this is like a really nice middle ground.
Yeah, they're still going to be a lot more solid than factory.
I
But
mean,
they
the
do have
factory
a-
ones we saw, they're pretty rough.
Yeah, these have a little bit of give to them though. So
Yeah. Old engine mount right there. New engine mount. Look at that.
fancy.
So much nicer. And we are going to DEI heat wrap the starter because I chose not to replace it. That'll be fine. It works totally fine.
Yep.
Nigel, how am I supposed to sell this as all original, one of one? Keep hammering. Harder. Write your initials. Starter heat wrapped. Definitely didn't just spend an hour on one wire. We won't worry about that. Okay, what's next? Yeah, it's cars. We don't need to show all that stuff, but a starter wire broke. Nigel fixed it. Anyways,
All right.
we've got the improved racing oil adapter. So we're going to put this gasket in because this gasket was leaking on my non-improved racing one. And this guy is finally going in. And there it is, installed. Super easy. Mostly because we don't actually have any headers right now. There's tons of access, but it is apparently possible with the headers in place or possibly loosened. Oil temperature sensor is included. It is all new as well, and mine was on its way out, so this is gonna be super convenient. That just plugs right into the factory harness. Routing the lines. We'll probably fix this up a little bit later, but just for now. That's gonna mount right up in there. Is that the outline or the inline?
This is out.
Yeah, everything's conveniently labeled. Look at that. Tells you right here. Outline right there. Now the instructions do say to remove the bumper cover. We are opting not to. We will see if this will bite us later, but very good instructions from Improved Racing. Sorry for not following that part of them. We are following all the other parts of them. So we'll let you know if we regret that later, but everything's pretty straightforward so far. Oil filter adapter is in, all the lines are there, just leaving them loose at the front of the car while we do a bunch of other stuff. What's that, you dreading the headers?
Yeah, not feeling so good, guys. I think I better go home.
I'm gonna give Nigel a massage. Header time, I'm excited.
No, I
Nigel's
just
not.
realized. So we get the C6 tunnel shield to put in.
Yep. Oh, Dave. Oh, C6.
I saved you $60.
Hey! 60 bucks saving, which means it's not gonna fit right. Is that?
Oh, it's gonna fit perfect.
Oh,
It'll be fine.
hey. Why you getting me worried over nothing?
Need the tunnel shield in before we can completely bolt the headers in.
Okay, yeah, that makes
But
sense.
I can't put the tunnel shield in because I need the engine down low enough to get these impossible headers in. We're just gonna do it all at the same time.
Okay,
Maybe.
all right. This will be a process.
Heat shield in on the side.
Let's see.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about it. Yeah.
So the heat shield is gonna go all through here,
Yep.
but we need to bolt. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Right. This is low.
Yeah.
I need this low so that I can get the headers in. But then the headers come back to like here,
And then you
it
can't
just
get the wrap in the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we'll-
Where you were hammering over here.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. You'll figure it out.
This is the game.
I'm gonna watch. I do offer some constructive help, although these guys have done so much of this that I'm not really helping that much.
Sure.
I'm here for comedic relief.
Hey, somebody's got to do it.
Except I'm not that funny. Nigel's just putting those in gracefully. So before we get these shiny, lovely headers in here, I did forget about one thing because I did get these for a little bit cheaper than buying them brand new. There is a problem, which we knew about, but there's a little bit of a hole here, so it's much easier to fix this right now than it is once it's on the car. Yeah, so thankfully this guy can also weld, so he's gonna weld that hole up.
All right.
For the O2 sensors. I'm going to look through the camera so I don't go blind. Newly welded, going in, coming out. Yeah.
It was never going in the first time. See what we gotta smush out of the way.
Oh wow, they fit just like that. And next scene, they're done.
Oh,
Look at that, installed. Engine mounts, let's go. So we're just dropping the cradle, putting it back up, dropping it, putting it back up, playing with it until we got everything in the right spot, basically.
yeah, basically.
Because headers want a certain position, those will want a certain position, heat wrap wants a certain position.
Yeah. So,
Working on cars, Corvettes.
So realistically, once we get this back up into position from here, we shouldn't have to change the position of the cradle or the engine anymore.
Right, okay.
Like these are still not bolted in, so
Yeah,
we'll have
no.
room to work around them. But yeah, it's a bit of a process when you're putting this many things in at the same time. You got to kind of
Yeah.
have some sort of a strategy to it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, if you came in and did this like one bolt on at a time, much easier. Although some things much harder, like let's say engine mounts or headers by themselves.
Yeah, just
or
to-
let's just say we had to do the crank balancer by itself. Well,
It's a
might
whole
as well
job.
just do 100 other things.
Right?
Cars, just do 100 other things at once. It saves you money in the long run, trust me.
Yeah, it'd be stupid not to.
Oh yeah, look at that shiny red engine mount in there. You good with that? All right,
Golden.
nothing moved.
Nothing moved.
Motor mounts are in, everything's in, headers are not fully bolted in yet. Everything is run just enough for today.
Yep.
Okay,
It was a solid day.
I think we made a lot of progress in the last 2 days in this particular video. So I think we're gonna wrap the video up here. We still have a lot to do over the next couple days. So the next video, we are going to be installing the other half of the oil cooler right here, which is gonna situate itself somewhere right around here-ish. And then Nigel, what else are we gonna be doing in the next video?
So we'll likely get the oil cooler in, get
Yep.
the radiator in.
Yeah, we still have the Dewitts Radiator that I bought off Marketplace.
Yep. Maybe do the tunnel shield and heat shield for that.
Yeah, so that
So we're ready to do the exhaust whenever we're ready to do the exhaust.
yeah, just in case for you guys to understand why we're doing that, I did it on my C6 as well. There's a lot of heat that transfers into the cabin if you don't do that heat shielding. And since we are doing a full exhaust, there's probably gonna be a lot of heat, and I'm going to be sitting at red line, so there's gonna be even more heat.
And then from there, I mean, we got lots to do. We'll kind of just pick away at it, but maybe get the MSD box mounted, the intake, some stuff like that. Start getting some stuff wrapped up under the hood. Catch can.
Yeah, catch can, we still have to mount that.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll even get to fire it up in the next video. We'll see how much progress we make. And then in the video after that, I think we're finally gonna start on the interior because we got some fun stuff like this. Nigel's excited about this too.
Yeah.
Still have to wrap up that hydro brake. Have to do a lot of little things like mount tow hooks and things like that. There's still a lot of little odds and ends to do. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you at the next one, which is gonna be very soon.